Good morning and welcome to 101010 at Poets House, the poetry library in downtown New York City. Poets House is the place for poetry, poets, and all things verse. I'm Dave Johnson, poet and playwright, and your host of 101010, where we invite you at 10 a.m. on weekdays for 10 minutes to write a new poem. And in 10 days, you'll have 10 new poems. This morning on 101010 here at Poets House, we're in the anthologies section. And these anthologies just keep producing so many wonderful poems and books of poems. Today we're looking at poems around city. And I've selected several books that you could take a look at. I mean, there's so many. We got San Francisco haikus. We got a book on Chicago. We have a book on poetry, Los Angeles, books from Rome, and one here that is really, really compelling, I think. It's a book on poems on Paris, but by writers from Quebec, right? So they're all Canadian poets writing on the subject of the city of Paris. Today, I'm going to look at Brooklyn, obviously one of the most poetic cities in the world, really, and it's really amazing. These are a lot of younger poets, and I thought we'd choose them because we're really talking about poems that are happening in the here and now. So I thought this was a very interesting anthology of Brooklyn poets. This one, around poems written around the city. This one is by a poet named Nick Flynn. Nick, you may also know, has done some screenplay work as well, and his movie is out there as well, so you should check that out. Anyway, this poem I'm going to read today is in the form of what we call a prose poem, meaning it is written like a very quick moment. It's not in a line break. It's like I would say, just a quick little happening. And when we say prose poem, meaning that it is in a prose style, it's in almost a way you would see fiction. There's no clear line break, but it just happens in a moment. So it's a little poetic moment, and that's what I love about this. Nick writes this from the point of view of someone teaching a high school class, right? Maybe teaching a poetry class. It's called 47 Minutes. I love this title because it's just straight ahead. 47 Minutes by Nick Flynn. I ask a high school class to locate an image in a poem we've just read. Their heads at this moment are bowed to the page. After some back and forth about the rain and a styrofoam cup, a girl raises her hand and asks, "Does it matter?" I smile. It's as if the universe was balanced on those three words, and we've landed in the unanswerable, and I have to admit that, no, it doesn't. Not really matter if rain is an image, or rain is an idea, or rain is a sound in our heads. But to get through the next 47 minutes, we might have to pretend it does. All right, just a little moment here. Nick Flynn, 47 minutes. I love how he lays that out. It's just this little happening, a little moment, and he enters this by the speaker in the poem saying, I ask a high school class to locate an image in a poem. So you have a really little narrative line here. It's almost like a little film in a way, right? It's a little moment, and it's very imagistic, right? You see the young girl raising her hand and saying, does it matter? And then that sort of moment where the poem is arrested in a way, it just stops. I smile as if the universe was balanced on those three words, right? The three words being, does it matter, right? Of course. And it's balanced on those three words, and we've landed in the unanswerable, he calls it, right? I love how it's a frozen in time, as if the film has just stopped, sort of stop motion in a way. And it just allows you to hold that moment in place, right? So I think that's something you can really learn from what Nick is doing there. What I'm going to ask you to do today in the poem in the next 10 minutes is to actually choose a time frame and write a poem around that. He says 47 minutes. It could be something that happens in 5 minutes, something that happens in 11 minutes, right? It could be anything. I mean, think about maybe there's a recipe, that takes exactly 20 minutes to cook, right? Or maybe it's, I was thinking there's 10 seconds that you're supposed to get the ball from the backcourt into the front court in basketball. And if you don't, it turns it over to the other side, right? So that poem could be 10 seconds, right? Or something like that, right? But I want you to think of a time, and that will be your title today, is whatever that time. This one, is, of course, is 47 minutes, and that 47 minutes is the length of that one class, right, that they happen to be sitting in. So I want you to think about that today. Start with that and see where it takes you, and just allow something to happen in that little moment. It could be, a class period or something. It could be any little moment that could contain itself. It could be the time it takes to get on your train and get off the train. I don't know, whatever it happens to be. Okay, we'll see what you come up with this morning right here on 10-10-10. Okay, so now we're going to write our own poem in the same way that Nick wrote his poem. Nick Flynn wrote his poem, 47 Minutes. And what I've asked you to do today is to actually choose a time frame that you're going to write about, right? So within that particular parameter of time, his 47 minutes was the time it takes to have one classroom period in a high school, right? And this moment that happens in the high school. So I want you to choose a time. So I'm going to do one just to get us going, and then I want to see what you come up with, okay? I think I'm going to choose, got it. Okay, so I'm going to say 17 minutes and 11 seconds. Exactly, 17 minutes and 11 seconds. 17 minutes and 11 seconds. Right? I bet you're wondering, right? 17 minutes, 11 seconds, exactly what that is? Well, I got you, right? 17 minutes, 11 seconds is the exact time a person can sit in a pew while the preacher goes on and on about all your sins. I got you, right? How do I know this? Believe me, I know this. My father broke open the Bible for us every Sunday morning until all we could dream about was pot roast and touchdowns. Time's up. All right, so there's my poem. Right? I'm the son of a preacher, as if you didn't know from this. 17 minutes and 11 seconds is the exact time, he used to tell us, a person can sit in a pew while the preacher goes on and on about all your sins. Believe me, I know this. My father broke open the Bible for us every Sunday morning until all we could dream about was pot roast and touchdown. Time's up. All right, so that's my little poem. I want to see what you come up with. Start with your time, how much time it is in your little poem, the time parameter, and then give us that little moment. Share that poem with us at the address on the screen. If you'd like to learn more and read more books of poems about cities, there are so many here in the Poets House Library. And I want to finish up today by reading you one from the one called Poetry Los Angeles. And this one I think is fun. It's a little tongue-in-cheek between L.A. and New York. And it's by Suzanne Lummis, who's a poet from L.A., and it's called Shangri-La. Shangri-La. And it opens with a little note from a radio talk show caller. And it says, in New York, they think all of California is like L.A., and they think everyone in L.A. has a maid. And they don't believe you if you try to tell them otherwise. It's true. Here we are all blonde, even in the dark, on Mondays or in slow traffic, even in our off-guard moments, startled by a passerby. We are young. Here we are all privileged, even in our sleep. At night, the maids hover like sweetly tranquilized angels over the glazed or enameled surface of things, purring, clean, clean. It's all true. We girls sip lemon lime through a straw, make love, revel on our nails. We take our long, sleek legs out for a walk, let them catch light. When someone says, get real, it hurts us. Real pain, like we've seen in the news. So we throw beach robes over our tans and cruise down the boulevard, tossing lifesavers into our mouths, car radios singing. New York, is it true that in the rest of the world it is winter? Our state is a mosaic of blue pools. Even the Mojave and the palm trees line up straight to the Sierra Nevadas. And the surf comes down slow-like, deliriously laundry, even near Fresno. New York, is it true that great cold makes the bones ache as if broken? We're sorry we can't be reached by plane or bus. Sorry one can't pull even the tiniest thing out of a dream. We're like the landscape inside a plastic dome filled with water. But turn us over. Then upright. See? No snow falls. That is Suzanne Lummis, Shangri-La. We'll see you next time right here on 10 at Poets House.